Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite ways to just learn a bike, to learn some technique, to build some endurance, and just ultimately be better at riding dirt bikes. It's one of the things that we all like to do, and honestly, why not do something that kind of seems a little bit simple, a little bit, maybe childish, that it works. Why would you change it? That's right, today we're talking about turn tracks a little bit. We're talking about, just ways that you can increase some endurance on your bike, increase some technique, how to go about that, what I do, what I shouldn't do, what I do, those kinds of things. And so just to kick right into it, to get started, the first thing about a turn track that I like to do is when I show up, I like to take a lap and just kind of roll through it, just kind of see what's going on. This particular turn track that I'm on, I've ridden it all summer long since I got my KTM. This is when I found this turn track, and a couple of buddies, they completely built this thing up. It looks pretty good. It's worn in. It's a good track. But as you go through it, there's a couple of spots that you can spot that are pretty blown out, pretty worn in, and you kind of just need to be aware of where those are. So the first lap that I take is usually just a little bit slower than the rest of them, just to kind of spot things and try and remember the whole track from memory. After that, the second thing I like to do is develop kind of a schedule for myself, or a workout plan. You might think of it like that. So what I did this day, and I don't have clips of all of it because the GoPro wasn't heated, but what I did was I did 3 sets of 5 laps, right? And that allowed me, someone who's never been on a racetrack but has goals of getting to one and being able to ride at a race pace for more than 2 laps, that's a good goal for me to start out with, right? So if I do 3 sets of 5 laps, I take a little break in the middle for some water, especially during the summertime like this, because it's hot and dry, and overall you're not going to be having a very good time if you can't hold on to the bike and you're cramping up. So a little bit of water goes a long way, right? So that's what I do. Break it up into a workout schedule. It definitely does not stay at 3 sets of 5. I would not say to do that forever. Once you kind of build up a base level of endurance, I'd recommend stepping up to, maybe 4 sets of 10. Do 10 laps on a turn track 4 times. You're going to be absolutely exhausted by the end of it. You're not going to want to be there anymore, and that's okay. It's a workout. It's meant to build your technique. It's meant to build your endurance, right? That's what turn tracks do. And the best thing about it is it's pretty low risk for the most part. You're not gonna come out to a turn track and then come up short on a jump and case yourself and blow out your knees or blow out your elbows or go over the bars. You're not gonna do that kind of thing on a turn track. So this is a really, really good solution for people that want to get into it. Fourth thing I like to do, especially when I'm out alone, is I like to wear some headphones. I picked up some Siphon Sound earbuds that go inside the helmet just to kind of jam out. It kind of just helps take my mind off of the pain that I'm feeling a little bit and just kind of just zone me out. I get to be in my own little space for a little bit, and that tends to help me a little bit to just relax a little. I'm not so tense, so tight, and stressed out about it. Obviously, you can't necessarily do that in a race because they're not approved for that kind of thing, but during training sessions where you just need to be mellow, relax, it's a good way to do it. It definitely isn't for everybody. A lot of guys like to just hear the RPMs of the bike, and to an extent I'm that same way. I don't keep the music up loud because I like to hear both, but there's that. Fifth, I like to really try to push myself on a turn track. So during the beginning of this, I think I probably was in first and second gear the entire first set of laps that I did, which is okay. You know, it definitely helps you to learn, you know, the stretch of the RPMs of the bike. That's a big deal. That's a good thing to do. You gotta learn that kind of thing. But during the second set, I like to push it, so I tried to stay between second and third pretty much the whole track. Obviously, there's a couple of tight sections where the rut is really deep and the turn is really tight. You're gonna have to slow down for those. You're gonna have to shift down into first, right? And with the 125, you're gonna be shifting a lot, right? So you're gonna have to shift into third, fourth, fifth gear, especially when you're on a racetrack. On this, I have never made it to fourth or fifth gear on this turn track. There's a couple sections where I definitely probably could have. You can hear it in the bike, a couple of sections where it's definitely lower RPM than it should be, and I should have shifted up or down depending on where I was at. And I'm cognizant of that. I recognize that, especially looking through the footage previously. But during the ride, like, you know, you don't recognize so much of that all the time. So it's definitely something you have to, you know, train yourself to be more aware of. And the turn track's a great place to do that, because essentially they're not very big. So you can kind of learn a little section and be like, okay, where can I milk a little more speed out of here? Where can I milk a little speed out of there? Right? And it usually works out pretty well for you. Okay, one other thing that I forgot to mention earlier as I was recording this is when you're working on technique on a turn track, this is a perfect place to, you know, be really focused on the little things. Be focused on, you know, standing up, being on the balls of your feet, having your knees in, being knees above toes, you know, just all of these things. Elbows up. You can do every single one of these little technique things on a turn track. Super simple. You don't always have to go out and be blitzing them and cooking out laps. You can do these 5 laps, these 3 sets of 5 laps, whatever you want to do, and you can do them nice and slow. Do one-handed drills. You can do this really technique-heavy riding on a turn track, and it's gonna help you build your technique a lot more. I don't do that quite as often as I should. I get sidetracked riding my bike way faster than I should on a turn track, probably with a little less good technique. But I feel personally, for me, and I'm not saying you should always do this, but for me, on the 125 that I have, this bike forces you to ride it properly, and it rewards you for it, and it punishes you when you don't. So I feel like, for me, I don't need to spend quite as much time doing the slow technique drill style of riding through this turn track as I do the faster, more aggressive riding, just because the bike's gonna reward me for doing that anyways. Appreciate everything. If you want to watch another video, some of these are just longer ride videos that I have linked over here. And have a good one, y'all.